All right, welcome. MacBean Scottish Fitness, farm and prepping. Today I'm going to make breakfast. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to make, once again, deviled eggs. I do like to mix things up every now and then. So I don't want to just have bacon, egg, potatoes, mushrooms all the time. Deviled eggs is really a nice way of getting a lot of flavor going and fairly easy to make. So basically we have our pot of water, we have our eggs. So I'm going to do a dozen. So I'm not going to eat all of them right now. Some of them are going to be for later, and some for my lovely wife. So she'll have a little treat when she comes home. And I do see these as a treat, but they are very nutritious and a good breakfast, and very easy to make. Time consuming, yes, all good things are. So I got a dozen eggs in there. I'm going to put them on the power burner. This is the one advantage of this burner is it will bring water up to a boil rather quickly once I get everything up to a boil. I don't know if you can see the big flame there. I'll set the timer usually for about 12 minutes, and a boil will give me a nice hard-boiled egg. I don't want a soft-boiled egg. I want it hard-boiled. Then the work comes. We cool them down, I peel them, put the yolks in there, and then I mix up our magic recipe. So while that is going, I'm going to cover some topics that I listened to yesterday. I was watching some videos on people that get out there, and they tend to put out some information which I'll call half-truths. This is going to be the new segment on MacBean Scottish Fitness, the half-truths that you see out there. So what I call them half-truths. Well, their original statement is based on a fact, but then they draw a conclusion that doesn't support it. So the last one I heard, and this is on the liver again, must be the latest trend. Maybe I should put liver under my hashtags. So there's a guy out there, he's looking all professional and everything, unlike me. He says, you don't need to eat breakfast. And that goes against what I say, because I say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So you don't need to eat breakfast because when you wake up, your liver puts a lot of glucose and sugar and some other proteins into your system to give you energy. So you don't need to have breakfast. You already have it in there. So here's the half-truth. The liver does do that. When you first wake up, it releases two different proteins. It pumps the blood full of glucose, which gives you energy until you have breakfast. So that's the part he failed to. I don't know whether he does it on purpose. I don't know whether he just didn't take it far enough. When you first do the research, it tells you that the liver does this. And then if you do further research, it tells you it's doing it to keep you energized until you get breakfast. And you need to put more food into you because your body does not have just this infinite supply of energy. And one of their comments was, well, it'll just burn off your fat. Your body doesn't go to the fat storage until times of severe hunger. And maybe that's why people do intermittent fasting. That's probably what that's good for. So your body can eventually will say, okay, it's time to break down the fat for energy. But it's a later resort, and it's not as efficient as having fresh food. And when you're working out and doing physical exercise, you don't want to be trying to get your energy from an inefficient source, which is your body going, oh, now I need fat cells to break down. That takes energy to break those fat cells down. Where does that energy come from? food. So when you see this Instagrammer or TikToker or wherever the video actually came from, say, you don't need to eat breakfast. You don't need to have those sugary drinks, orange juice. You don't need to eat fruits. You don't. Yes, you do. True, your body has popped some sugars in there and some proteins to give you energy when you first wake up. Sometimes it does it better than others. So, because that's sometimes when you wake up and you're full of energy, your liver is doing a great job, probably because you had a good diet the day before. And then sometimes you feel sluggish. And there's a couple reasons for that. You didn't have a good diet the day before, or you actually woke up earlier and you decided to lay back down and your body had already pumped all that in there. And now you get up an hour later or 2 hours later because you didn't feel like getting out of bed, and now you're going, oh man, now I'm sluggish. Well, you're sluggish because the liver can't do it again because it doesn't have the resources. And it's not going to sit there and go to the fat cells that quickly. So how do you get that energy? You eat breakfast. So, inverse to what he had to say, okay, it's a half-truth. We're catching a lot of those half-truths. So, as Paul Harvey used to say, and now for the rest of the story. So, when you fact check somebody, I probably should use it, when you research what you've seen, you need to take the research to more than just one level. Because people would research it and they would say, the liver does this. What he said was true. But you need to take it to the next level. It does it to give you time and energy to make breakfast. You know, remember, when we were first coming out of the trees, you know, we didn't have a refrigerator. We didn't have a stove. We didn't have all these fancy things. So you needed energy to sit there and eat, whether either hunt down or harvest. You had to have energy to do that, to get breakfast. All right, now we don't have to do that because we have it right there in our refrigerator. But yes, breakfast is better for you. It doesn't mean you have to have a big breakfast, but it means you need to have a nutritious breakfast. So that's what I'm making today, is a nutritious breakfast. Also, I'm going to put this down as a premiere tonight for a couple of reasons. First of all, it'll have a much better picture and quality because I'm not using my lousy internet out here. And John in Prepper Nation says the analytics work better when you do premieres over lives. Now, I'm going to have to try to dig into that and find out exactly what he means. And maybe I'll send him an email to you, John, where do you find that? Where do you find that information? And then I can sit there and you'll still have a live chat going on and I can answer questions as people are watching the video. So I'm not going to do a lot of these premieres, but I am going to start doing more. I also do like doing the live streams. I feel it's more of a one-on-one connection. So I've got the water getting ready to boil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fry up some bacon. I like to put some bacon pieces in there too. So you always got to have some bacon. The reason I have bacon. And I'll start it back up when I get ready to do that. Okay, so I got the frying pan warmed up. I just have regular store-bought bacon. I had in the freezer. Anybody's been following me for a while, I almost always am using a butcher, bacon from the butcher. I just haven't been out there where I like to get it from in a while. Probably be done this weekend. It'll be one of those, we need to make trips, take the cooler with us. And usually I'll go out there and I'll buy 6 or 8 pounds of it. You know, 2 in the fridge and the other ones I pack up and put in the freezer. So I don't need a lot of bacon, I just want to use this for flavor. So 2 sticks is going to be plenty. The other things to note, you know, when it comes to working out, comes to being motivated. You know, a lot of people are saying, man, I just can't get the motivation, or, you know, it's just too hard to fit in. And I understand those feelings 100%, trust me. All right. I also feel that way. You know, when I get up in the morning, man, I just like to have a lazy morning. You know, man, I just like to sit there and relax. It's nice and, you know. But what I also like is I like the physical shape that I'm in. Now, I'm not no competition bodybuilder and that, but I am a power lifter. And I also compete in track and field as discus. And I do extremely well in the one, and I do fairly well in the other. And if I want to continue doing that, I have to put forth the effort. And sometimes it means you have to make adjustments. So yesterday, I did my walk and I did my throws, but I didn't go to the gym. So how did I counteract that? Well, I could have been mad all day. Could have been at work going, big dummy, you should have went to the gym. But instead, I did push-ups while I was at work. Now, luckily, I'm in an area where it's not too many people are coming by, so every time I loaded up the line, I did 25 push-ups. And then towards the end, I did 30 push-ups. I ended up doing 180 push-ups last night during my shift. Now, the advantage of push-ups are, there's a couple advantages. Number one, it incorporates a lot of different parts of your body. So it's your arms, it's your wrists, it's your shoulders, it's your back, it's your chest, it's your core, your abs. It is your legs, your calves, your hamstrings. It's a full body exercise. And it's something you can do every day. And as of yet, I'm not even sore from it. And I used to be in the habit of doing it all the time, and I got out of that. My fault. I'm getting back into it. Tonight, this afternoon I will make the gym, and I'll do arms and probably some back. But anytime I miss the gym, I can either do pull-ups, or not pull-ups, I can either do dips or I can do push-ups at work. And the tooling I use is heavy. So I can shoulder raises, there's a lot of different things I can do to get the exercise in. And that helps with the motivation by having a varied thing to do. I also have weights downstairs, I have weights upstairs, I have weights outside. When I walk out to check the garden, I can grab dumbbells and I can do a set of shoulder presses. Now, the best exercise is to go in the gym and get my, hour and a half workout, and that's the best one to do. And that's the one I try to do most of the time. But you gotta say, okay, I messed up. I just didn't have the motivation right then, so I will do it when I have the motivation later. I have a Facebook friend, Barry Meadows. He does push-ups. He has a group called Push-Ups Off the Sink. No, they literally will do push-ups on an angle, pushing off the sink or counter or whatever. It allows you to exercise without being as intense as a regular push-up. And some days he comes home, so I didn't do any because I did a real long workout at the gym, so it didn't feel necessary. And there's other times, I wasn't happy with my workout, so I did more than usual. But the whole idea of the physical activity will stimulate all the processes your body does to make you feel better, and it will stimulate your mental activity. So the best thing you can do for your brain is exercise. So it's not that we're more motivated than you are, because we're not. All right, just as you, we've just got our same faults and everything. It's just that I look at it and go, I like the way I look, and to continue to look that way, this is what I have to do. And if I don't do it, then one of these days I'm going to look in the mirror and go, man, you let yourself go, which happened back about 30 years ago. Well, not quite 30, about 25 years ago, when I had let myself go for a year, and I kind of took a look at myself and I said, man, I don't look good. I shouldn't be this way. So it's all about motivating yourself, but don't think you're any different just because you have to push hard to do it. So I got the water boiling, so I will set the timer now for 12 minutes. I'll let those boil for 12 minutes and flip my bacon over. What I'll do with the bacon is I'll make them bacon bits to add to the whole mix. So that was one of the main things I want to talk about, motivation. And don't feel bad if you're moving kind of slow, all right? No reason to feel bad about that at all. Just still get in the gym and lift or do some sort of exercise. Other thing to look at is comments that you will get on social media, because you'll never get these comments in a gym. All right, people are not that petty and little. So here's the comments I've been getting and kind of the fun experiences, how I dealt with them. So one was like, Well, yeah, it was an impressive bench, but I'm not too impressed with your conditioning. You know, a little emoji like that. So before I answer anybody, I go to their page. I look at their videos. I look at their pictures. I look at their posts. I get a better idea of what they're like before I say anything. So this elderly gentleman, because he was probably not too far off of my age bracket, you could tell that he dips into Dr. Royd's pharmaceutical all the time. So I just said, well, maybe I don't look well conditioned because I'm not going to the pharmaceuticals all the time. And he admitted it. All right, so that was the good part. He's like, okay, I'll give you that. He says, you know, but, you know, do you eat good food or are you running on Dunkin'? So I said, okay, well, I have a YouTube channel with the same name because this is on Instagram. And you can see I do cooking videos. So I cook my food. So I go on hikes. I go on walks. I do various exercises in that. Feel free to pop in. And he finally just said, okay. All right. So not too bad. But, you know, here's a guy who is on a lot of what they call performance-enhancing drugs. And I don't know exactly what he was on, but he was on more than one. And that's okay. You're an adult. That's fine. But don't point at somebody who's natural and say you don't look like you're conditioned. Okay? That's being real hypocritical. The only reason you look that way is that you're on those performance-enhancing drugs. Yes, you are still putting the work in. Yes, you are still working hard. Absolutely. The drugs alone don't do it. But they do give you an advantage. All right, let's be honest. It gives you an advantage. Okay, I'm on no prescription drugs at all. Nothing. No blood pressure, no diabetics, no cholesterol, and no performance enhancing. 0 drugs. And I like to keep it that way. Now, some of you have to be on some of those medications. You really do. But I am happy to say I do not have to be on them. And that was my one main thing to him. I don't need to be on any of these things. I take vitamins and minerals. I follow Casey Little Owl. Got a lot of good ideas on natural things that kind of take care of it. Now, like I said, sometimes you got to be on medication. My wife is on medication for her blood pressure. She has to be on it. All right, a lot of it's hereditary, but she knows a lot of it is her activity lifestyle. All right, she doesn't hide from that fact. And I know she probably could reduce her need by getting more active, but you know that once again, you have to be the first one that gets motivated on that. And then you have I call them the rep police. That wasn't a full rep. That was only half rep. 0 reps were done. Children, go play in the playground. Stay away from us adults. Because once again, I'll go and look at them. And really, they're not the professional. They really shouldn't be talking at. And finally, I told them once, I said, listen, I'm training for powerlifting. The only time I need to lock full out is in a competition. When you're doing multiple reps, you want a full extension. But you don't need to lock it out. That's tough on your elbows. All right? And I lift more than you. So, you know, don't tell me not one dull rep was done because you didn't understand that full is spelled with an F. And he came back saying, well, you know, you're not ever going to make gains doing things like that, yada, yada. I said, well, I'm tied for 4th in the world. Where are you ranked? He deleted his comments. He went bye-bye. All right? Don't come where the men are. We have men here. All right? If you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all. You know, praise in public, criticize in private. Now, if somebody sits there and sends me a video and says, well, what do you think of my form in that? I'll watch the video and I'll tell them if they need to tweak it or not. 9 times out of 10, their form's just fine. We all bench differently. All right, there's something, well, if you are, and you lock in and you do this, and I said, well, that works for some people, it doesn't work for my body type. Everybody's built just a little bit different. I'm rated fourth in the world. I think I'm doing something right. Now, am I making the gains as quickly as I'd like to? No, I'm not. It's been a struggle this year. It really has. It's been hard work. Most good things are. But I keep training. So, to Jacob's like, you ever going to get to that 480 again? I don't know, Jacob. I really don't know, but I'm going to keep coming at it. It's going to keep being my goal. But it may get to a point where, I do have age working against me. So it might get to a point where, I'm just too old to sit there and naturally be able to push those weights. So, I get accused of being on TRT. This is not what a person looks like if they're on TRT or HRT or WXYZ or whatever. But if I ever do decide that I want to go that route, it will be under the advice of a doctor. And I will let you know, this is what I'm doing. Because are there some benefits to those things? Sure there is. There's also those side effects. And right now the side effects is what keeps me away from it. Is one of the reasons. The money is the other one, and the health risk is the third. But, those other people that, this guy goes, yeah, obviously you're not any of that stuff. Well, I appreciate you being one of the ones that know that, because he knows what the effects are, because he does them. Here, you need to respond on all these other idiots that are making those comments. So remember, breakfast is still important. All right, yes, your liver does produce 2 proteins that releases glucose into your bloodstream and gives you energy. The reason it does that is giving you energy to go out and get food. And remember, we used to have to earn it, not by having a job, because you always have to earn it, but we used to have to either go hunt it down or we had to harvest it. That took energy. So your body gave you energy to go do that. It doesn't mean, nope, I don't need breakfast. Liver produced it all for me. All right? Just like I don't need protein. Liver produces all the protein I need. How do they do that? By the aminos you get from protein. So it's all, it has to do with things that work together. So we're getting within about 3 minutes of the eggs being done. I will cool them down. So the next time I'll start this up will be when I'm in the process of peeling the eggs and see what other things I want to cover. So I'll be back in a few. Okay, so we just brought the eggs off the stove. I ran under cold water for a few times to initially cool them down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dump ice in there. And the whole idea is to cool it down quickly so the egg kind of pulls away from the shell for a little bit. So here, about 5 minutes in the ice bath, and that is just to help it make it easier for us to peel the eggs off. Eggshells will go in the food bucket, because everything goes to the garden, which gets recycled. So, on the point of fitness in that, remember rest is important. So, the other night, Tuesday night, I didn't get very good rest. I guess I was so worried for Michael to get rest that I just, something didn't agree with what I ate at work. So my stomach was upset. It kept me up. I had to get up, take some Tums. And I only got about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And it affected me, all right? I didn't wake up refreshed. Today I woke up refreshed. So last night I got a good 7 hours. I got home about midnight and fell asleep. Lately I've not had to get up that often to go to the bathroom. That's a good thing. Might have to do with maybe the new minerals I'm taking. And I had a nice, long, restful sleep. So that worked out well. So I can tell, I can feel it today. Already got a lot of my morning activities done. I still will go out and throw discus. I got an idea what I need to do to change it, because right now I'm just kind of I'm all over the place. My dexterity needs to improve. But, and then I will get to the gym later on this afternoon. It's a nice sunny day. It's going to be a little on the cooler side, but when it's sunny, I like to be outside, so I will get outside. But otherwise, don't let anybody on social media sit there and try to berate you. Oh, you're not doing it right. That doesn't do any good. Why'd you even stop? All right? Why'd you even stop by with that silly stuff? Just, I've been doing this for 49 years. Doesn't mean I don't try new things. I don't try new exercise every now and then. Doesn't mean in the gym that we won't have a discussion, because there's nothing wrong with discussions. But if you're part of the rep police, just pass on by. Okay, this is a no rep policing zone. All right. Because are there times that people that do ridiculous forms of rep? Yeah, I haven't seen it a lot. But I'm still not going to comment. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to change things around in that. I mean, that's what started this channel. Because there was a Facebook group and there were some individuals that were working out really hard, but because one was doing 3/4 reps or another one was using a slingshot or whatever, I get other people ask me, well, what do you think about that? And I said, well, I think they're working out. I think they're in the gym exercising. I think they're doing stuff that's going to make them better and healthier. That's what I think. So that's why I did that one, just get in the gym and lift. Wrist straps, no wrist straps. Elbow sleeves, no elbow sleeves. Whatever. Just get in the gym and lift. Now, I did give another guy some crap about the elbow sleeves just because he was being a troll. And then he went bye-bye and deleted his comment. He was telling me I didn't lock out. And I said, listen, I've never seen elbow sleeves that long. You with the extra long elbow sleeves, you're going to tell me about my reps. Go away. But, it's just go in there and do the exercise. And be positive and be supportive to each other. One of the things I like about some of the Beaverines on Proper Nation is I was on there a couple days ago. I had a lot of opinions. And some of y'all Beaverines didn't agree with my opinions, but then that's okay. But you just say, well, I don't agree, and I think it should be this way. And that's great. It's called a discussion. Nothing wrong with that. Not, you're wrong. You're narcissistic or monogamous or magugulous or whatever the hell they are. We get too easy. We sit there and start throwing labels out against anybody who does not agree with us. And when you start throwing labels out because somebody don't agree with you, suspiciously sounds like, I don't know, Nazi regime. Well, I'll get dinged on that one. So now that I cool these down real quick, I'll bring them out initially just to kind of dry off. And hopefully they won't run away. Then we'll peel the eggs. So if you're in the lifting community, be supportive. If you're not supportive, why are you in it? Not everybody is going to be at the same level, but they're going to be at the best level they can be at. And if you are on steroids and stuff like that, don't be so conceited to make fun of other people's body. All right? You'd look the same without all that stuff. Like I said, I don't care if you're on steroids or not. Really, you're an adult, make adult decisions. But while you're on social media, speaking of being an adult, be an adult. Act like one, not like some little spoiled little child. So now here's where the work comes in. So I'm going to give them a few minutes to kind of evaporate and dry off. And then I'll start it back up about halfway into the peeling process. You need to watch the whole thing. Alrighty, so now it's the monotonous part, peeling the eggs. But because of the ice bath, they're peeling pretty easily. Especially when you're dealing with farm fresh eggs. They tend to be a little harder to peel when you hard boil them because they're fresh. Understand, when you're buying eggs at a grocery store, they are many weeks old already. And so they start, producing little gaskets between the egg and the shell. when they get that old, so then they tend to peel easier. So of course, I mentioned that I'm getting into one egg is going to be a little more work than the others. It's a thicker shell, but it's still doing okay. So the ice bath is for the sole purpose of making it easier to peel the eggs. Now I did filter through some of my eggs. I have some smaller eggs I got there that have real thick shells, and I felt they might be a problem. So I don't think so. I do have a few here that have thick shells and they're peeling just fine. So one more, and then the processing starts. So I mean, can I just eat the eggs the way they are? Sure can. I do that many times. Here we're just dressing it up and making it more flavorful. And when things taste better, you tend to eat more of it. That can be a blessing or a curse. If you're trying to lose weight, then that can be a curse. If you're trying to gain weight, that can definitely be a blessing. So here I got the eggs. So now I'm going to divide them in half. And then pull the yolks out of them. Only to put back in later. And I remember my buddy at Cutco Knives, Lucky O'Day. So basically, now I can chop them in half first, and then go through that process. All the yolks will go into the bowl here. So 12 eggs are going to give me 24 double eggs of various sizes. So basically, just dumping the yolks in there. Then we're going to add mustard and Miracle Whip, or if you like mayonnaise, it would be mayonnaise. Now, the first time I made these, I goofed up, and I misread the directions, and I put about 4 times the salt than I was supposed to. And then I just remembered I don't really need a lot of salt. I'm not the type of person that needs a lot of salt in their food. But it called for half teaspoons, and I think I put a tablespoon in there. Well, it made it awful salty. Now, it was good. It was at a Super Bowl party that I went to, and everybody was drinking a lot of beer, and salty things tend to go with beer really well. So I looked out there, and then I realized I don't need a lot of salt. I'm not one of those people that puts a lot of salt on their food, just a little bit. I had a buddy who used to put salt on salted ham. I remember I ordered it for breakfast one time, and I couldn't even stand it because it was too salty. And there he is nailing it with a salt shaker. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So too much salt's not good for you. And I mean, some people like to have a lot of it. You tend to get enough in your food, especially with food these days. But these are natural eggs. You know, just about all eggs are. Or fresh. Come on. I was going to stay there. So, the egg yolks. We're going to throw in some mustard in there. That's enough. And the old scoop of Miracle Whip. As if you're a mayonnaise person and that's what you're using. This is really where the flavor's coming in. Just a little bit of salt. A little bit more than I want to put in there. Now we're going to whisk it up. You could use a beater too. Well, I was going to, but I didn't want to run the cord. This does the same thing. Then if I don't have the mix just enough, I'll add some Miracle Whip to it. These have everything tend to stick in them. Make sure you get it all nice and mixed up. And it takes a while for this to get mixed up. So, other things to cover. I do hear a lot of people wanting to get back in shape in that. They're asking about, things you can do at home. There's a lot of things that have weight at home you can do. Push-ups, sit-ups, deep knee bends. Got stairs? I'll come down the stairs. All those things will be excellent forms of exercise. Well, for a walk. A nice walk is a great form of exercise. And it's beneficial for your back. Okay. So now here comes where we just sit there and redistribute everything. So what we're doing is we're packing them back in the yolks. Sticky. I don't know if there's something I can put on my hands that wouldn't stick on me, or it's just one of those things you have to put up with. What I do is I just start distributing it in there. Don't worry about if I have enough in each one or not, because I can come back around and re-top off. Come on. There we go. This is going to be so good. By the end of the day, it'll be gone. Remember, it's the incredible edible egg.